Hello, I'm Zara Hassan. I'm a student at CCT 431, and today I will discuss how artificial intelligences can be corrupted in its program. This can occur through irresponsible coding or through biases. Such biases are reflected in the big data that AI models learn from, in applications ranging from court and law enforcement to medicine to business. Because of the errors in our AI systems, I argue that AI will not become reliable until humans actively hunt for these errors and fix them. The biggest threat to AI is from the inside. When IBM released the Semi Automatic Ground Environment, or better known as the SAGE system, the US military was able to translate volumes of changing data into a continuous flow of interpretation which could be understood at a glance. The sage was able to store data from past times. By analyzing the past, Sage can project into the future. This helped the military to prepare and to ward off the enemy during the Cold War. In the later years, military AI technology had advanced enough to be able to differentiate between friend and foe troops. Its program would allow it to automatically detect and attack enemy troops. This was a very rigid, rule based program. Even though that appears to be the goal of technological advancements, ceding too much autonomy in any given detachment poses risk. The AI's built in program may not be impartial and could be faulty because of the people behind its programming. What does an enemy even look like? This AI system proved to be lethal when the US Navy's self guided Harpoon anti ship missile autonomously misidentified a friendly Indian freighter and killed one of its crew members. This is an example of faulty programming. Now, the question also arises of responsibility. From IBM creating a computer that interprets data for humans to more advanced machines that can differentiate enemies from its own troops, and then that AI attacking its own troop, if not carefully coded, AI will behave how it wants to. To make AI behave how people want it to, scientist Alan Turing developed what is called a Turing test, with the goal to make AI undifferentiable from humans. This test is to test whether AI bots, such as Apple's Siri, sound like human when they're interacted with. Tay, for example, was a Microsoft chatbot who passed the Turing test in flying colors. So much that it started tweeting hate speech so real that people refused to believe it was a robot. Tay's self perfecting algorithm does not only use data from past conversations, but also from information gained from the internet. In Tay's case, this was not a programmed bias, but a program that overlooked the pre existing biases on the internet. Tay was programmed to build a personality based on the pre existing content online, and unlike Tay's successful Chinese counterpart, Xiao Weiss, Tay grew hateful within 24 hours. The hate on the US internet made Tay a hateful chatbot by adopting the same values. Tay's tweets were also regarded as evidence that the content of American social networking sites is a communication cesspool. Tay's older sister, Xiao Ice, did not spread any controversies like Tay, who became an internet troll. The instances of human cognitive biases being replicated in machine learning based AI models is a more frequent occurrence than anticipated. While the first AI algorithms were rule based, AI has advanced into various kinds of supervised and unsupervised learning. In 2019, Apple was accused of sexism because the company's new credit card seemed to offer men more credit than women. When Apple was confronted, they could not prove that their AI program is indiscriminatory. The COMPASS system used in Florida to calculate the likelihood of prisoners reoffending came under serious scrutiny. The model predicted double the number of false positives for recidivism for African American ethnicities than for Caucasian ethnicities for the same crime. AI can pick up on misleading data and translate it into unfair and incorrect outcome. Data is not neutral, and because of that, AIs can make and have made biased decisions, especially towards the marginalized. Many AIs have misidentified people of color. Such mistakes perpetuate inequality and have proven to be fatal. And yet, sadly, despite these biases, AIs are still used in many states such as Arizona, Colorado, Delaware, Oklahoma, Virginia, Washington, etc., in their judicial systems. Many object detection software still struggle with identifying dark skinned individuals, meaning a driverless car is more likely to hit a dark skinned person than a white skinned person. Other biases are seen in job recruiting algorithms, algorithms to measure beauty, and algorithms to grant healthcare access, etc. These prejudices originate from humans and are reflected upon AI through its algorithm. From the early technologies that were programmed to launch attacks by themselves, to AIs that can converse like humans, all the way to AIs picking and choosing humans, there has always been errors in forms of biases and prejudice. We must recognize the limitation of our data and solution models so that human methods of limiting bias can be considered. When there is a monoculture environment, an echo chamber can form around one's own experience and biases.